What's up, everyone? Matt Gajewski here, back again talking college football. And today we are going to be breaking down Auburn's roster and expectations ahead of 2025. Before we get started, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. Our analytics show that most of our viewers, like 75%, are not subscribed. It really does help out a small channel like this. So thank you if you've done that. Leave any feedback below if you have it. We will take that into consideration. But without further ado, let's dive into Auburn with a quick overview of what happened last year. Really weird season for Auburn. Their strength, defense, by far. Only unit that struggled a little bit was pass coverage. They had some injuries back there, but a phenomenal front seven defensively. Offense was a little more of a roller coaster. Offensive line, middling in this conference, a little above average overall. Decent pass game, didn't run the ball as well as they wanted to. Dealt with a lot of fumbles. Turnovers actually were a big problem in general. Peyton Thorne, weird stat, had more interceptions than turnover-worthy plays. Again, some of that is your receivers are volleyball setting interceptions to defenders. Guys are fumbling going into the end zone. And all that culminated in a 5-7 record. They lost some very close games across the board. Cal by 7 points, Arkansas by 10 points, Oklahoma by 6, Missouri by 4, Vanderbilt by 10. The only games they truly got blown out in or lost by double digits were Georgia and Alabama, two of the better teams on your schedule. They also had a win over Texas A&M, but ultimately they missed bowl eligibility. And now you have Hugh Freeze sitting with an 11-14 record through 2 seasons. He enters year 3, and last year just wasn't quite what they wanted. Yes, they took a step forward in terms of playing close against some better teams, but they had bowl contention in their sights and just missed it. The other players on the staff, coaches on the staff, back for more. Derek Nix, second season as OC. Previously, he coached wide receivers with Ole Miss. This is a Hugh Freeze offense. So having good continuity there is a positive, but it's mainly Hugh Freeze we care about offensively. DJ Durkin's back for his second season as DC. He was previously of Texas A&M, coached the same unit there. Good defense last year, so he needs some credit. And this team has at least a good trajectory in terms of recruiting. 18th to 10th to 8th. And they went to 5th in the SEC this last year. Retention's okay. 90% in Hugh Freeze's first real class in 2024, solid. 47% in, the half Hugh Freeze class when he takes the job his first year. But overall, they're trending in the right direction. We've seen them acquire some high-end players like Cam Coleman. So this is all positive for Auburn moving forward. Now they just need to put it together on the field. So let's go to the roster. Here is our tool looking at the 2-deep depth chart. Transfers are in yellow. We have experience for these players, snaps from the last 2 years, offense and defense, recruiting rankings in terms of stars, overall value system. This is a grade given to players. Think of it similar to like a Madden where you're trying to score players. It takes in your recruiting, and then the more snaps you play, the less it factors recruiting, the more it factors on-field play for each position. And overall, we have a lot of elite players on Auburn, and we'll start with the quarterback position where they move on from Peyton Thorne and bring in Jackson Arnold. Last year, Jackson Arnold had a rocky go of it. Not all his fault. He's a former 5-star, but he finished as the 91st most efficient QB in the country, lost multiple offensive linemen, lost his top 6 receivers. So he finishes the year with a 62.5% completion percentage for 5.8 yards per attempt, well below average there. The college average is 7.4. 12 touchdowns, 3 picks, 7 big-time throws, 8 turnover-worthy plays. Honestly, his best skill was rushing. 444 yards on the ground, 3 yards per carry. He now has 11 big-time throws in his career in 13 turnover-worthy plays, which is a little bit funny going from Peyton Thorne, who had turnover problems, to Arnold, who has turnover problems. And they kind of did the same thing with their backup QB. Presumably it's Stanford transfer Ashton Daniels. Very, very good rusher. But Daniels has started the better part of 2 years now. He has 26 big-time throws, 36 turnover-worthy plays. If it's not him, they turn to Tanner Bailey from South Carolina. Former 4-star, but has played 3 snaps since 2020. Can't project him for anything. Retired last year. Now he's back. I don't know what he gives you. The ceiling of the position, at least from a depth perspective, comes from 5-star freshman Deuce Knight. As long as he plays well enough, he should jump Bailey and Daniels. sooner rather than later. But the QB position is in a good spot with 2 5-stars on the roster. Running back. They lose Jarquez Hunter, but they have a pair of former 4-stars, Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb, who've played here and there for this team. Alston is 5'9", 209. He had 52 carries last year, 5.3 yards per carry, caught 6 passes. Cobb is a little smaller, 5'11", 196. 4.9 yards per carry, but 6 catches as well. They both come from a 4-star background, so good recruits. They have a freshman 4-star and Alvin Henderson joining the team. UConn transfer Durrell Robinson comes in, 6'1", 200 pounds. Averaged 6.8 yards per carry out with UConn, caught 14 balls. Big step up in competition, but this unit has a nice combination of some experience, albeit at a low level of competition, combined with 3 4-stars on the roster. So running back should be pretty decent. Wide receiver should be a real strength for this team. They lose the players that were sort of dead weight, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Robert Lewis. You do return your 5-star freshman, now sophomore, Cam Coleman. At 6'3", 197, he caught 37 balls for 598 yards, primarily a perimeter player. 94% of the time he was out wide. 1.84 yards per route is good for a freshman receiver. And if it's not him, they do have Eric Singleton Jr. coming over from Georgia Tech. 56 catches for him last year. He now has nearly 1,500 yards receiving the last 2 years. 5'11", 190 pounds, another perimeter receiver. 72% of the time he was out wide. 2.3 career yards per route is elite. The wide receiver 3, presumably Malcolm Simmons, 4-star sophomore, 6'1", 197. He was the main slot receiver last year, caught 40 balls for 451 yards, 2.32 yards per route. Awesome numbers for Simmons. From there, they bring in Horatio Fields from Wake Forest. It was a bad offense last year. It is what it is, but he's 6'3", 205, former 3-star, caught 39 balls for 467 yards. And I think you can excuse the yards per route a little bit with him. He was well below 2, 1.25. But as a perimeter receiver in an inefficient offense, he should be, I think, better in an offense like this, but still no better than your wide receiver 4. Depth pieces, Perry Thompson and Bryce Kane are 4-stars from last year. Derek Smith and Sam Turner, 4-stars from this year. Thompson is a burner, 25 yards per catch last year. Smith is an elite recruit. He's the 107th ranked recruit in this class. So wide receivers in a very good spot overall. I think there's a lot to look forward to as an Auburn fan. Tight end, they lose their top 3, Rivaldo Fairweather, Luke Deal, Mike O'Reilly. This leaves just Brandon Frazier. Only 41 snaps last year, but previously had 241 in 2023. Mainly a blocker, 6'7", 262. A couple of Maryland transfers, Enrico Walker and Preston Howard are on the team. Walker's a better recruit, 4-star, but he's played less than Howard, who has 792 snaps the last 2 years. Not really much to be said there. The ceiling probably comes from 4-star freshman Hollis Davidson III. But tight end was not a focal point of the offense last year. Probably won't be this year considering their personnel. Offensive line, they return their top 4 players. Left tackle is a position with some questions, but this is a spot where they added a transfer in Xavier Chaplin. He comes over from Virginia Tech, a ton of starting experience with him the last 2 years. Only allowed 13 pressures last year. Good pass blocker, slight step up in competition, but Chaplin's a phenomenal transfer. Left guard, projecting Dylan Wade here. Started with Auburn in the last 2 years. Actually started with Tulsa before he came to Auburn as well. Slightly above average player, has played everywhere on the line basically. Last year, mainly at left tackle, but also played some left guard and some right tackle. Has versatility, but right now with the current projection makes most sense here. Center is Connor Liu, a former 4-star. He was the best player on this offensive line last year, just 9 pressures allowed. He's a stalwart. Right guard, Jeremiah White, started last year, has now played over 1,200 snaps in his career. He allowed just 8 QB pressures, a little bit better as a pass blocker compared to run blocking, but good numbers for Jeremiah White at right guard. And finally, right tackle, Xavier Miller's back. He's played over 1,100 snaps the last 2 years. Not the best player, but still pretty good as a pass blocker. 21 pressures allowed. That number improved in 2024. They did bring in some competition. Mason Murphy from USC. Average at best when he started out there, but at least you have some competition. At worst, you have a experienced swing tackle. There's not a lot of depth, especially of high caliber talent. Four-star Broderick Shull is coming in this class. 2024 had a four-star DeAndre Carter. Otherwise, some other depth pieces with a few snaps are Tyler Johnson, Dylan Senda, both 3-stars. Just not quite the same caliber unit as like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, or Texas A&M, but it's getting there. Auburn is slowly jumping up to that standard of recruiting, and the transfers they brought in are solid. Defense, the strength of last year's team. They lost their best overall defender, Jalen McLeod, but they returned his running mate on the edge, four-star Keldrick Falk, 2 years of starting experience, 45 pressures last year, strong run defense numbers, an amazing place to start. They have a decent amount of experience behind him. Kieran Crawford played 334 snaps last year. It was his first year with Auburn, previously started at Arkansas State. Crawford had 26 pressures in a rotational role with good numbers. Four-star Amaris Williams is back for his sophomore season after he logged 119 snaps. And then in the depths, you have a lot of pretty decent players as well. Four-stars Jamonta Waller, Joe Phillips come in. Jared Smith's an incoming four-star. They also added Chris Murray from Sam Houston State. It's a big jump in competition from Conference USA, but Murray had 33 pressures on 451 snaps. So at the very worst, he gives you experienced depth. Inside, Auburn rotated a ton last year. They returned 321 snaps from Quintrell Jamison Travis. They returned another 305 from sophomore four-star Malik Blockton. Blockton is now up above 300 pounds. Thankfully, they had to play him a decent amount last year, undersized at 291, so a year in the offseason program has helped him. They did add a lot of transfers. Dallas Walker from Western Kentucky, Jay Hardy from Liberty, James Ash from Florida A&M. Walker originally was recruited by Texas A&M, but he had to transfer down in competition, got his first year starting last year with Western Kentucky. Hardy was originally with Auburn in 2020, then he had to transfer down to Liberty. He never carved out a starting role there, which I think is a shame and probably a problem moving forward. Ash is the one that comes from the FCS. He was all SWAC, but he's way undersized for defensive tackle, 6'4", 280. That's not going to hang in the SEC unless they change his position. They do have a lot of high recruits. Malik Autry, Jordan Crawford, Antonio Coleman are coming in. So there's a chance that some of these guys have to play right away as like a Blockton did with this team. Linebacker. They lose their top three, Dorian Mossy, Eugene Asante, Austin Keys. So they now have a pair of four-stars atop the depth chart. One of them is a sophomore, and DeMarcus Riddick. He played 239 snaps, and the other is a junior, Robert Woodyard, 122 snaps. So it's inexperienced, but thankfully you do have some at least talented recruits to fill the top of this position. If they can't get it done, they did add some transfers. Xavier Atkins comes in from LSU. He's similar, four-star that only has 31 snaps. He's a sophomore, so still young. Caleb Wheatland is the only player with starting experience in this group. He started last year, 42 tackles, was actually much better in coverage compared to run defense, but a lot of that just came down to missed tackle numbers. He missed 29% of his tackle opportunities. So yeah, everyone at the top has questions. Maybe you see four-star freshman Elijah Melendez or JJ Falk. Linebacker is very unproven for this team. Defensive back is not. They only lost one full-time starter in Jaron Thompson. Boundary corner should be his strength. They have a 2-year starter in Kayan Lee, former four-star, 47% completion percentage allowed, 4 PBUs, 2 picks. They also have 2024 four-star Jay Crawford, only allowed a 40.5% completion percentage, 5 PBUs, 1 pick. This is one of the better cornerback duos in the SEC. And nickel should be pretty good too. They have a couple options. Sylvester Smith had to play right away as a sophomore. He was only average, but he's a former four-star, 438 snaps. He wasn't supposed to start either because Champ Anthony, their original starter, went down very early in the season with a gruesome knee injury. He should be back. He played a lot in the slot, so that gives you 2 options there. Hopefully Sylvester Smith, with another year of growth, can hold down that position. If for whatever reason something doesn't work out, they did add 2-year starter Rayon Strader from Miami of Ohio. Awesome in the MAC, 13 PBUs, 2 picks. Just a big jump in competition. So corner should be a very good position for Auburn. Safety, I think you're also looking at a pretty solid group. They have 1 full-time starter back in sophomore, Caleb Harris. He was very good at run defense, 46 tackles, only allowed 139 yards and a 50% completion percentage. The other spots up for grabs. They did return 146 below average snaps from four-star sophomore Kensley Louisdor-Faustin. They also have four-star freshman Anquan Fegans, Eric Winters with the team. Tay Seymour comes from Georgia Tech. He was horrible there. I'm not sure why they added him. A couple other four-star freshmen DBs, Donovan Starr, Devin Williams, Eamon Langanis, project to be corners, but maybe you could move them to safety. Really, the only question is, what do you do at that safety position outside Caleb Harris? And they have a lot of good options. Transfers, recruits, shouldn't matter too much. At kicker, I don't know who they're going to use. They used 3 last year. Alex McPherson's back. He was the best one, and he actually started in 2023 with good numbers. Last year, they decided to go away from him after it was a little shaky. Towns McGoo is back. He played a little bit last year. He was horrible. They added Southern Miss transfer Connor Gibbs. He was horrible. So I'm not projecting kicker to be a strength for this team, but maybe McPherson can get back to those 2023 levels. In that year, he only missed 1 field goal and made every extra point. So, I mean, it is in there. It's just been a little while since we've seen it. Getting to the schedule, let's talk about what Auburn faces this upcoming season. Should be a... Why does this always happen? Should be a relatively difficult schedule. This is not the easiest schedule for Auburn. I mean, they're in the SEC. Rarely are they easy. But in your non-con, you have Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama, and Mercer. I want to chalk that up to 3 auto wins, and then I'm not sure what Baylor's going to provide. That's an away game. Auburn's definitely better than Baylor, but it's not an easy place to go out and play, especially in week 1 when you have some change and a new QB. But anyway, in conference, this team has a relatively difficult schedule. I think right away, some of the problems you might face are your road games. You have to travel to Oklahoma and A&M in back-to-back weeks before your bye very early in the season. Late in the year, your road trips are a lot easier, which is positive, but you're still not done any favors up at the top. You have to play Georgia. You have to play Bama. Fortunately, you're hosting both of those teams, but still, you're playing 3 of the top 4 teams in the conference. The only one you're dodging is Texas A&M. As far as bottom feeders go, luckily, they play 3 of them, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So this should be a bowl team. There's no way around it. You have 3 wins in non-con. You should be able to get Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt with ease. You could probably even beat teams like Missouri. Oklahoma, I'm not sure with the road trip. Looking at 3 games where you're probably an underdog, A&M, Georgia, and Alabama. But, I mean, this team should win 7 games. They should win 7 games, 8 max, 6 minimum. It's a very good Auburn roster. They are building something, and we're finally seeing that come to fruition. We'll see what Hugh Freeze can do as far as overall output, but we're expecting this team to be a lot better. Next up, we'll cover Tennessee. A lot to talk about with Nico Iamaleava. Let me know if I missed anything. Otherwise, we'll be back again soon. Good luck, everyone. We'll talk to you again later.